Good day. Welcome to the first episode of solving common entrance practice questions, mathematics to be precise. So, in this first episode, we are going to be looking at 10 questions very, very quickly, and this is our starting point. So, let's start. Question 1. What is the greatest number that you can make from these digits? What is the greatest number that you can make from this digit? So you have 1, 0, 5, 4, and 6. 1, 0, 5, 4, and 6. So the trick of doing this is that you definitely should start from the biggest of those digits. So if you want to make the greatest number, you shouldn't be starting from 1. So you should be starting from 6, followed by the next big one. So that should give us a 6, then followed by 5, followed by 4, followed by 1, and then 0. So the biggest ever number you can get from this digit is 65,410. I hope you got that right. Alright, let's go to number 2. Mike's father was 79 years old in 2010. That's 2010. In what year was he born? So if you are 10 years old now in 2024, that means that you were probably born in 2014. That is 2024 minus your age. You land at the age where you were born. And this is the same thing we are going to do to this man's age. So this will give us 2010, which is the year, and then we take away how old he was from it. So let's do this quickly. The year we get here is the year he is born. So of course we borrow 1 from here. This gives us a 10, and that is a 1. This remains a 0. When we borrow 1 from 2 here, it comes here, that becomes a 10. We cut it again, we remove 1, so it remains a 9, and then we bring 1 here. So 10 minus 7 is a 3, and of course we have 9 here. And don't forget that we borrowed 1 from the 2 here, which remains a 1. So that means that the man was born in 1931. 1931. Okay, so let's move to the next one. Question 3. 16 out of a total pupil of 28 are girls. So what is the fraction? What fraction of the class we are boys? So we have 28 as our total here of the pupils, both boys and girls. And then we have 16 of them are girls. So I'm going to use G to represent that. Now, if you do your math well, you'll know that the remainder will be the boys, and that should be 12. As if you take away 16 from 28. So take away 16 from 28, that will give us 12. That's for boys. So, but that's not the question. The question is not asking us how many boys do we have. It said what fraction of the class we are boys. So now we are dealing with fractions. So we have to first change this to a fraction of this. So the boys stay on top, and right just beneath it we have 28, which is the total of the class. If the question had said that what fraction of the class were girls, so that's it's going to be 16 over 28. But it says what fraction of the class were boys, so 12 for the boys over 28. Now you cannot leave your answer in this way. You have to reduce to the lowest term. So I'm going to use 4 directly. 12 divided by 4 will give me a 3. And of course, 28 divided by 4 will give me a 7. And this is 3 over 7. That is the fraction of the class that were boys. Final answer. Number 4. Sydney was in school from 9:30 a.m. until 3:30 p.m. How many hours was she in school? How many hours? For how many hours was she in school? She got to school by 9:30 and left by 3:30. So for how many hours was she in school? Okay, so you can do this in 2 ways. You can either take the longer method, in which you start counting 9:30 to 10:30 is 1 hour, 10:30 to 11:30 is another hour. That makes it 2. 11:30 to 12:30. You continue like that until you get to 3:30. That shows you the number of hours. But you can also do it in this way. Now this time is a 12-hour clock, a 12-hour time. So we have to convert it to a 24-hour time. And a 24-hour time, when converted, is only the PM that is changed. You leave the AM the same way. It is the morning time, you leave it the same way. The PM time is the one that you change by adding a 12 hours to it. You add 12 hours to it. So 3:30 being changed to 24-hour time. I'm going to add 12 to this. I'm sure you must have seen some clocks, digital clocks, that will read 15:30. Remember I said I'm adding 12 hours to it. So 15:30 in the afternoon is actually 3:30. Also 15:30 is same thing as 3:30, but it's just that it's in the 24 hours clock. So now that we have converted that, so we just bring the time she got to school and subtract that from the time she left. She left at 15:30. The time she got there was 9:30. So 30 out of 30 will give us a 0 for the minute, and 15 minus 9 definitely is a 6. So of course you know that this part is the hour part, and of course this is the minute part. So looking at your answer, you know that this means that she used 6 hours at school. 6 hours at school. I hope you got that. So let's go to number 5. Number 5, read along with me. What fraction of 1 year is 26 weeks? Give your answer in its lowest term. What fraction of 1 year is 26 weeks? Give your answer in its lowest term. So first and foremost, we have to express this as a fraction. So we have here 1 year and we have 26 weeks. So first you need to know the one that will be the denominator and which one will be your numerator. Now the little trick I love to teach my pupils is that anyone that follows the off word is the one that becomes your denominator. So 1 year follows the off, it becomes your denominator, no matter how the question is being changed. You understand? The one that follows the off stays at the bottom. So that will mean that if I'm having a fraction like this, 1 year stays here, and right at the top I have what? 26 weeks. Okay, but there's a problem here, and the problem is that, oh pardon me, this is supposed to be 1 year, not 1 year. Okay, so the problem I'm having here is that the numerator is in weeks as unit, and the denominator is in year as unit. So both of them cannot be worked together. That means there must be a conversion. You have to convert the bigger one to the smaller one so that both of them are in the same unit. Then you are able to work on them together. So this will mean that 1 year, definitely it's 1 year, will be changing. How many weeks make 1 year? And that is 52 weeks will make 1 year. And right at the top we still have our 26 intact, 26 weeks. Okay, so dividing this, of course the weeks would have to divide each other out, and then we have to reduce to the lowest term, as our question has said, reduce to the lowest term. So we look for the factor that can divide both the numerator and the denominator. So I'm going to start with 2. So 2 in 26 is 13, and 2 in 52 is 26. If you do your division very well. Now looking at this, we look at this very, very well. 13 can actually divide it because 13 times 2 is 26. Okay, so 13 here is 1, and 13 in 26 is 2. So our fraction here is 1/2. That means that 26 weeks is half of 1 year. this is 52 weeks. So 26 weeks is actually half of 52 weeks. That is why our final answer is half. All right, so I hope you got that. Let's move to the next one. Find the average of the next four odd numbers after 20. Find the average of the next four odd numbers after 20. Okay, so if you don't know what average is actually the sum of all the numbers divided by their number, how many they are. Okay, so sum means addition, and you divide by their number. Okay, so average is equal to sum over their number. So this will mean that next odd numbers, four next numbers which are odd after 20, this will mean 21, and we are doing their sum, plus 23, plus odd numbers only, 25, plus 27. Okay, so this would be over their number. How many are they? They are 4 in number, so over 4. That is how you work average. Sum of the numbers divided by their number. Okay, so adding this 21 plus 23 gives us a 44. Sorry. Okay, so 44. All right, that's similar to working. Okay, 44. Okay, 44, and then 25 plus 27 should give us a 52. So we are adding that and dividing by 4. So when you add this and you divide by 4, will give me a 96 divided by 4. Okay, so how many 4s make up 96? Let's see. So I take this using the short method. I take 4 in 9 is actually a 2. That's 8. That remains a 1. So I put the 1 close to the 6. That becomes a 16. So 4 in 16 is 4. That's 4 times 4, 16. Okay, so that means 4 in 96 is actually 24. So 24 is our average for the next 4 odd numbers after 20. I hope you get that formula. Average is sum over the number of items or number of digits. And I also want you to know that average can also be called mean. In some questions you might say find the mean. So it's also the same formula you would use. Let's go to number 7. If Adeolua doubles a number. If Adeolua doubles a number, adds 4 to it, he gets 32. What is the number? So this grammar sentence, I would have to change it to a mathematical expression. So this number, I don't know what it is, so I'm going to use M to represent it. You could use any of the letters to represent it. So M. But the question says Adeolu doubles the number. That is, doubles this M. That means 2 times M, which is 2M, or M plus M. But when you double a number, that number adds itself. If you double 5, it means 5 plus 5. If you double 5, it also means 2 times 5. So 2 times M there, and add 4 to it. Then it says he gets 32 according to the question. So if you don't want to go through the long method of algebra, you could just do this, because this equation is actually moving in this direction while you're working. So while you want to find the M now, I would suggest you go in the opposite direction. So when you go in the opposite direction, every sign, every mathematical operation you do there reverses. That means if you did addition moving forward, you have to do subtraction moving backwards. Do you get it? If you did multiplication moving forward, you do division moving backwards. Okay, so moving backwards now, we added 4 to get 32, so I'm going to subtract 4 from 32. That will give me a 28. Did you see? So I'm moving backwards. So I took 4 away from 32. I added when I was moving forward. So going backwards, I would take away 4 from 32. That gives me 28. And what I did here was 2 times this number. 2 times. So I'm moving backwards now. I'm going to have to do a division. So I'll divide this by 2. So that will give me a 14. So that means my number is 14. Now let's run a check. So added doubles a number. We know the number already has 14. So we want to run a check down here. So if he doubles it, that means times 2. That will give me what? 28. Right? 14 times 2, 28. And then the question says add 4 to it. 20 plus 4 gives us 32. So that means that my 14 is actually the right one. Imagine I had gotten 20, for example. So if I am to check, I'll say 20 times 2, since 20 is going to double, that will give me 40. And add 4 to it, that will give 44. And it's not the same as 32, so it's a wrong one if I had gotten anything other than 14. So 14 is our right answer there. And I hope you got that. So if you did not, just go back, listen to it again, this time more carefully. Let's go to number 8. Increase 920 by half of it. So we have to increase 920 by half of the 920. So first and foremost, it's quite easy to do. Just do 120 divided by 2. Sorry, not 120. 920 divided by 2. So when you do that first, 2 in 9. I always like to do the short method here. You might love the long method, but fine. So 2 in 9 is 4. Right? So that's 8. 2 times 4 gives 8. And that's the closest thing to 9. And it will remain a 1. So I bring the 1 close to the 2. That gives us a 12. 2 in 12 here is 6. I'm writing my answer here. And 2 in 0, of course, is 0. So when I have gotten half of 920, which is 460, I will have to increase this with this. When you increase the number, you are definitely adding to it. So that will give me 920 adding 460. Of course, that's supposed to give us 9 plus 4 is 30. 1,380. 1,380. I hope you understand that. Alright, number 9, second to the last one. What is the next prime number after 31? You remember that the definition of a prime number is any number that has only 2 factors. It has only 2 factors, and those 2 factors must be itself and 1. Factors are numbers that can divide another number. So 31 is actually a prime number because it can only be divided by itself. 31 divides 31. 31 can't be divided by 3, can't be divided by 4, can't be divided by 2 or any other number, only by itself and 1. So after 31, which next number is a prime number? That number has to have only 2 factors. So let's look at the next numbers after 31. So after 31 is 32. Well, of course, because it ends with an even number, 2 can divide it. So it's not a prime number. Remember, a prime number must only be divided by itself and 1. And then I move to 33. 33 can be divided by 11, can also be divided by 3. So definitely it's not a prime number. So let's move to the next one, which is 34. 34 can be divided by 2, of course, and also by 17. So it's not a prime number. We move to 35. 35, of course, can be divided by 5. And 7 times 5 is 35. And of course, 36. Yeah, 36. Yeah, 36 cannot be our answer. Why? Because of course it ends with even number, and if it ends with an even number, it's definitely going to be divided by 2. And we are looking for a number that can only be divided by itself and 1. So the next number is 37. So 37, I'm not sure there's any other number. There's no other factor that can divide 37 except by itself and 1. So 37 is our prime number there. The next prime number after 31. I'm sure you got the definition of a prime number there. There are numbers that can only be divided by themselves and 1. You understand? 11 is a prime number. It can only be divided by 11. No other number can divide 11 without a remainder. 9 is not a prime number. It can be divided by 3. So that's how you know. So that you must know your factors very, very well whenever you are treating this. So let's go to the last question quickly. Yeah, what is the value of m if 5m equals 40? Now remember when I was working the unknown the other time when it says that Diolua doubles the number. Okay, so I did 2 times m. So in this case we have 5m, and 5m actually means that 5 times m. Remember that we are using m here also because it's an unknown. We don't know the number that is supposed to be there. A number is supposed to be there. 5 is supposed to be multiplying a number. But we don't just want to leave the space, so we represent it with a letter. That is what algebra is all about. So we represent it with a letter. So having represented it with a letter, it means that 5 multiplies a particular number in this place to give 40. I can hear some of you say 8. Of course, our answer is 8. But how do you get the 8? Remember I said when you are moving forward, you get this. But to get your m, you have to go backwards, and you multiplied when moving forward. So going backwards, you do the opposite, and that is division. So that will give me 40 divided by 5. And so 40 divided by 5, of course, I can hear you scream 8. So that's 8. So 8 is right there, our answer. So with this, we've come to the end of episode 1, and I'm sure you gained 1 or 2 things from this episode. If you don't understand any of the question, I will advise that you go over and listen again. Listen to it over and over again. Meanwhile, I have this for you to do from number 1 to 6, just like the questions I've treated for you just now. So I would want you to quickly try it out. You can send me your answers. I would gladly respond to you. Goodbye. See you next time in episode 2.